Hello friends, welcome. In the part 1 we have seen how a data from a database is taken and a group of checkboxes are set or unset based on the data. So and we are when you are updating the check button, so the same thing was reflecting in the database also. So that part in the part 1 we have seen. Now we'll add a check all or a uncheck all button. So this will control the entire group of check buttons. By clicking the button, either you can check or uncheck all the buttons. This part we will learn. So before we move, my request is please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you'll be notified as and when we add tutorial, and we are frequently adding that also. Let's learn the script. I am inside my Visual Studio Code. So this entire source code you can download it. I will let you know how to download it from our blog post. So before that, let's move and see how this script works. Here I am running the script and you can see this is the window. So in this the buttons are there and some are by default based on the database what is the status. These are checked or unchecked. I can click this. So I can click this and check all, or I can just click this and uncheck all the check buttons at one go. Here is our database connection. It's the SQLite database we are connecting, and how to create the database and all fill with sample data we have discussed in the part 1 also. So you can download that entire script also. We'll see that. Now in this, once you are connected to SQLite database, you are first what you are doing is collecting all the status, the default status what it will be shown. So this fetch all based on this particular status, what you are going to do is we are just displaying the all the check buttons here. You can see this for looping through all the defaults whatever the based on the status we are taking and creating the all the check buttons dynamically. So based on the number of records we have, so based on that the rows will be dynamically populated. It can be 2 or it can be 50 or it can be 100 also. So then what has happened is the button which to manage the entire all the check buttons, we just see that we have placed it at the end. So end in the sense read this, the row number takes the number of students, the number of students what we have collected from that, and that lane means it takes the number count, it counts the number of students and place that in the row number. Say I have 5 rows of data, then 6th row our check all button will come, because the first row is 0. So suppose 5 rows are there, 5 records are there, the last row of student will be row 4. So the row 5 will come here. So that is the reason why this lane is used here, and this way all the our buttons taken from the database is laid. When the user click the check all uncheck all button, so this button calls a function and pass the status of it. Status can be either true or false. So that based on that status, we create a query to update all the records in our database either to true or false. Here in this code, here is our check all button. So let me just zoom it a bit. Fine. So what's this button? So in this text part is check all uncheck all. So and here we are setting the boolean variable. So it can text the value true or false. Just above at line number 65 we have declared it. So check all. If you want from default value to be true, you can just set it value equal to true. So that's what we can do that. Now boot style, as you know, you can change the boot style. So tool button, various other styles you can use it. But because this is a button, so you have gone for a button style. Now here comes the command. So when you click this particular check button, what it does is it calls the function toggle all. It's a user defined function. It's here at the top we'll see the code. Now it passes the particular value, either it is true or false. This variable, this particular, because it's a boolean variable, the get will give us the value of it, either it is true or false. These two things can happen. So get method will collect that value and place it here. So what happens when this function is called, this particular function receives the status of the check button. So that is what. Now let's just go, but before that I will just show you one more thing. Here it is. There is a checkboxes are a list we are maintaining. It's a we are initiated a list here, but when inside the for loop, when you are creating the checkboxes, we are appending it the checkbox value. This variable to collect the reference of that particular check button. Say 5 are there, so 5 students are there, then this checkbox list will have the first element will have the reference, then student id, reference, then student id. Like that, a list will be available. You can just print it and see the structure also. Now let's come back to our function. There's what you have seen, the toggle all. This particular function changes the status. Now let's just come to toggle all, where it is. Yeah, here it is, the toggle all. This is the function what you are discussing. It receives the status. This status will have true or false, these two only. Now comes the query. Because it is connected to a SQLite database, so what you need to do based on this status, we should, all the records should be either true or false. We have to update it. So while updating, say you based on your logic, suppose you have used a filter, and based on the filter you have taken the data, then we have to incorporate that filter. To keep it simple here, we are just updating all the records. It may happen that all the students of class 4 you have taken, or class 5 you have taken. So that time you have to see update student set. This is where class equal to 5. So you may have to pass one more parameter here. But to keep it simple, we have just used one here the status we are only taking, not adding any filter to it, and updating all the records. See this query. So first is update student set status equal to status. This semicolon and this one, this is a placeholder. Why we are using a placeholder? Previously also we have discussed, because here you just see this is the nothing but we are passing the as a status as a dictionary, where the status is the key and this value is here. This value directly we could have written set status is equal to status whatever the parameter we receive, but we want to separate the query and the data part separately. We want to send the database. That is because we want to prevent the injection attack. What is an injection attack, how code can be injected and all, we will discuss separately. So it is always a good practice, instead of directly writing the variable within the query, it is always always advisable to use a separately pass the data, so your database knows what is the query part and what is the data part, because data can come out from various sources. A user can inject any code inside the data, so it is always advisable to use the placeholder and parameterized query for updating the any record you are updating or interacting with the database. Separately and several occasions we have discussed this also. Then we are committing it. Then just to print to the console, we are printing all records updated, and we are saying based on the paid if status, unpaid if it is unpaid if the status is false. But note that this is just a text part only. You can change it, attended, not attended, paid, unpaid, pass, fail, anything you can do it, because it's just a true false based on that condition. Next is this one, you see. Then once the database is updated, the same status should update to the all the check buttons. That is what we are doing. That see this list box, and here also this we are appending the references to that, and using that a for loop we have created here for checkbar underscore in checkboxes, checkbar set, all that this we are setting, all the variables of the check buttons we are setting it to status. The status what we received from the button when this function was called. So accordingly all the status of the all the check buttons either checked if it is status is true, unchecked if the status is false. This is our blog post. So you can see this URL. This is there in the description. You can click and visit this particular page. So down below the description you can find this URL. So here you can see our part 1 first. The video is link is there. Then you can study the entire source code of it, how the different parts are there. First one, to make it simple, we have used a dictionary to get the populate the check button and all. Second part, we have seen the SQLite database. These two we have already discussed in the part 1 of this tutorial. And third part, adding advanced features like check all, uncheck all. This is what we are now discussed. Now you can just see I click the part 3. Here you can see that the entire source code is here. it is explained here how the check all uncheck all works. From here you can, this many code only, you can just study the code and copy it from here. If you want to further use the MySQL instead of SQLite database, you can just study this part also. This is how your, and the MySQL dump, to create the table with sample data is already given, and to change it you just need to update the connection string only. So instead of SQLite, you have to use the database URL. Here it is. So user ID, password, your database name and all. These are the changes in connection part is only required. Every rest of the code will remain same, because that is why we have used SQL Chemi. So that is, it can handle both MySQL and SQLite database. That's all, friends. Hope you have a good learning experience, and if you have any doubt, idea, suggestion, questions, use the comment section below to post it. And my request is, please subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you'll be notified as and when we add tutorials, and we are frequently adding that also. Please share this with your friends, and thank you for watching.